Welcome to Esthetics Online Summit 2024, hosted and produced by SD Web Solutions. We hope you enjoy our next summit speaker.
All right, welcome back, you guys. We're here with Rachel Arnold, which I'm super excited about. We're going to be discussing plasma energy in aesthetics. Before we get started, if you've been on the other webinars, you've seen that we're kind of threading in some personal development as we go along, just because I do feel like estheticians and this industry is more than business. I feel like it's a calling, and I think we all have sort of our own way of navigating our path in it. And what we're talking about today is sort of maybe some limiting thoughts or limiting beliefs, which we all have, that could stop us from going to the next level in business. And, you know, my belief is that if you allow your business to heal you, it will. So if you have maybe the strength or the courage or the support to move through those limiting beliefs and thoughts, you'll kind of pop out the other side just so much stronger, so much better, and a leader in whichever path that you decide to take. So Rachel, I'm kind of curious, in your experience and your growing your business, are there limiting beliefs or thoughts that could have stopped you or are stopping you, and that you've had to navigate through to become the leader and educator that you are?
Absolutely. So that's such a good question, because as business owners, we all have these things that we go through that hold us back or propel us forward once we can overcome them. So for me, it's this feeling that I have to do everything myself because no one else can do it better than me. So it's been very hard for me to delegate.
That's been the theme today, by the way. I think
okay.
maybe women feel that, but that's definitely been the theme.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn how to delegate more and focus on my own health and well-being more, so that I will delegate those things. Because if you're not healthy, you cannot run your business. That's just bottom line. If you're not taking care of yourself, your business will suffer. And I really learned that this past year. I went through a very difficult attack on TikTok, another story for another time, that caused me to have to rebrand my entire med spa. So I've been through some interesting challenges, and I've had to learn how to take care of myself more and delegate things that I can delegate to other people.
That's awesome. And if you guys want to drop in the chat, maybe some limiting thoughts or beliefs or, things that you've had to overcome to just keep moving forward in your career and your business, I'd love to see them, and we can maybe at some point share them with everybody. But for now, let's jump over to you, Rachel. You can, if you want to share your screen, tell us about yourself, and I'll just turn the reins over to you for now.
We're going to be discussing the role of plasma energy in aesthetics. So much information here is ongoing. It's still a growing industry, and a lot of things I wish I would have known as I was getting started in my skincare business, because it would have saved me a lot of time and money. So you can hopefully learn some things from me and not make some of the same mistakes that I made in my career. And again, save yourself some time and energy and money. Let's get this started. So first of all, who am I? I'm Rachel Arnold. I'm the CEO of a company called World Plasma. We used to be called PLAXEL USA. If you've heard that name, that's us too. I am the head trainer of World Plasma. We have a few trainers worldwide. We are still trying to grow our trainer base. If that's something that interests you, if you love education, we'd love to talk to you. I am a licensed esthetician. I got started in aesthetics doing hair and makeup. I'm a former Miss Texas International 10 years ago this month, or last month, it's now April. So that got me into the beauty industry. I felt like I was always kind of a tomboy, and I don't generally wear lots of makeup. As you can see today, this is what I do most of the time. I'm also a very busy mom of three. Two of them are twins that are 3 years old and a 6-year-old boy. And then I also run a medical spa in Dallas. So I'm very busy, but the pageant helped me be a little bit more girly, taught me how to do hair and makeup, and I really fell in love with that. So I started doing hair and makeup for events, weddings, pageants, fashion shows, anything I could get my hands on. Really started to fall in love with makeup. I've always been into holistic health, thought I wanted to be a nurse, then realized I wanted to be a doctor. And by then it was too late. I was having my kids. So if one of my kids wants to go to med school someday, I'm going to go with them. So I am a certified nursing assistant as well. I worked at Baylor Hospital for a while, very versatile background. I love education. I'm a former fourth grade teacher. I'm now a certified injector as a few months ago. I can do the Botox and Xeomin injections, and I'm loving that. And again, I'm also a certified health coach. I think that health and wellness are essential to understand and incorporate into your practice as a skincare professional. So I incorporate that into my practice and into my teaching. So that's just a little bit about who I am. How I got involved into plasma is I heard about plasma fibroblasting. I don't really like that term for a few reasons I'll get into, but I heard about it many years ago, probably about 6 years ago now, and did some research. I couldn't really find anyone that was doing good training locally, but a friend of mine had a trainer come in from Canada. And so I decided to go take that training. It was decent. But what I was being taught and the device that I was given were two completely different things. So it was very confusing. So I only did a few treatments and I didn't like what I was seeing. So it sent me on this search for what I call now a true plasma device. I had to teach myself a lot about plasma energy, what it does to the skin, how it's supposed to react in the skin, what it's supposed to do, what it's not supposed to do. Lots of trial and error. That's kind of how World Plasma was born. I just saw this huge need in the marketplace to bring some sanity to this newly emerging plasma energy market. It was called plasma fibroblasting, and that's what most people know it as now. But yeah, don't like that term. Anyway, there needed to be some organization in the midst of all of this chaos that was plasma pens. There was so much confusion out there. Nobody knew what was real, not real, if we were damaging skin, if we were helping skin. There's so many unknowns. So there were practitioners getting into it and then leaving as fast as they got into it once they started working on skin and realizing this is not doing what I was told it was supposed to do. The science of it, as I started to study more, made a lot of sense to me. And I was like, there has to be a device out there. There has to be somewhere that this idea came from, and it has to be working somewhere, or else it wouldn't be picking up the steam that it is, and there wouldn't be all of these copycats already. There was a demand for good technology, a demand for good training, a demand for understanding of this technology. And then there were also all these horror stories of clients and patients being very harmed by these so-called plasma pens. And that was very disturbing to me. I don't like people getting hurt, especially if it's by my doing. So I wanted to see if I could possibly learn as much as I could about this and help other people prevent harming their clients. And then the more excited I got about it, then this whole modality got banned in Canada. And I was like, whoa, we cannot hurt people and get this banned everywhere. This is too good. So I kept going and I found solutions for a lot of my problems. And then World Plasma also came about because I wanted a way for estheticians, doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners to get this valuable training and learn about plasma energy without having to take time out of their busy schedules, spend lots of money to go somewhere and do a training. So I created it to be all online with lots of support in the process. And it ended up working out super well because then COVID hit and everything was shut down. You know the story. So that's where World Plasma came from. So what we're going to talk about today is what plasma energy is, what it can be used for, and how it can be used in aesthetics, a little bit about where it came from, the types of results you can expect with your clients if you get into this, and how to choose the best device for you and your clientele. And that was a huge hurdle for me, but I solved it for you. So we will get to it. So the main uses for plasma energy, and there are tons of them, but for what we are discussing, the main uses are plasma skin regeneration, or PSR for short. And I like using that term instead of plasma fibroblasting because fibroblast is a cell. If you are familiar, it's a cell deep within your dermis that helps you produce collagen and elastin in your skin. People started calling this modality plasma fibroblasting and making this verb out of a cell, and it just hit me really weird and I didn't like it. And then people started getting hurt, and then that term became really bad to all the authorities and they hate it now. So Anyway, I like the term plasma skin regeneration because that's mainly what we're using it for. Plasma has been used in surgery for many, many years, and most recent years it has really developed in some really cool things for surgeons. And for dermatologists. It can be used for wound healing. There are applications for the dental world that also cross over into aesthetics, and I'll get there. There are applications for the treatment and removal of skin imperfections. And I say treatment and removal separately because some of us are authorized to remove and some of us are not. And then there are also some really cool developments for hair regrowth. So what exactly is plasma energy? I love this image because it reminds me of being a kid and having one of those plasma globes, and you would touch it and the plasma inside would like stick to your fingers on the glass. And that is a form of plasma energy. It's a great visual I like to use for my clients so that they have a visual of what it is, what type of energy we're using on their skin. But plasma energy is the fourth state of matter. So we have solids, liquid, gas, and then plasma. And plasma is essentially a gas that has been ionized. So it's positively charged ions and free electrons that are floating around. In the 1920s, this term plasma energy or plasma was coined by a scientist named Irving Langmuir, and he described it as this jelly-like moldable energy that was it reminded him of blood plasma and how the energy behaved. So that's why he called it plasma. I kind of wish they would have called it something else because everyone gets so confused when you call it plasma. They think it's blood plasma, and you have to explain, no, it's plasma energy. It's different. Some scientists call it a liquefied gas. I like that term also. And then there are essentially two different types of plasma. There's many, many, many types, but for the sake of simplicity and for what we are focused on, there's thermal and non-thermal plasma, or hot and cold plasma, to be really simple. This is a list of all of the plasma energy uses in the aesthetics industry. Some of these can be considered surgical and dermatological if you're doing removal. And then some of these we can diminish or get rid of in other ways that are okay for estheticians. And then some of these, as an esthetician, you just can't do it all. This is a long list of different things you can do. It's not a complete list, but it's a great long list. I'll give you a second to look at that. Most of what we are doing with plasma energy is focusing on crepey skin and diminishing crepey skin, which tightens and lifts and diminishes fine lines and wrinkles. And then, excuse me, skin imperfections as well are also a huge focus. We'll get to more of this in a minute. Plasma skin regeneration, or what some people call plasma fibroblasting. It's a cosmetic procedure that uses plasma energy to basically rejuvenate the skin. It works by delivering these controlled pulses of plasma energy into the skin surface. We're not going into the dermis, so it's very important for estheticians. We cannot treat into the dermis, but we're getting into that epidermis to stimulate collagen production, promote skin tightening, promote the skin regeneration, doing what I call forced collagen production that I'll get into a little bit later. It can also help improve the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, scars, uneven skin tone. As you are forcing that collagen production, all of these things tend to get better. We also are very careful as estheticians what we claim in our services with plasma because it can be medical or it can be cosmetic. So when, or if you are providing this service, you want to be very careful with the language that you're using so you don't get yourself in trouble with your local authorities or the FDA or any of that. So using terms like reducing the appearance of is okay. Saying things like skin tightening, that's considered surgical, that's not okay. Or it's considered medical, sorry, not surgical. But skin tightening is changing the structure of the skin, and that's why it's considered medical, and that's why estheticians have to shy away from some of that language. So here are some examples of what plasma skin regeneration can do. You see acne scarring can be greatly diminished. These are my clients, by the way. She was just a one treatment girl. That's all she wanted. She was happy. We could have done a few more treatments and diminished this even more. In the middle is a good friend and client of mine. We did her eyes a couple of times, just the lowers. What we cannot do is remove the substance that is inside of the bags causing those eye bags. We cannot do that as estheticians. You can't do that with plasma, period. Sometimes that is a medical condition that has to be solved surgically, but for those who don't want to undergo surgery, we can help diminish the appearance of those eye bags. It does help with the fine lines and wrinkles around the eyes. It is safe around the eyes, which is awesome. You can do the eyelids. You're not going to penetrate through the lid and hurt the eyeballs. And then what we have also found is those that have the discoloration underneath their eyes, since we are promoting the collagen growth, you're thickening that skin slightly, and then it sort of masks the discoloration. People ask, how long do these results last? It really depends on your client and how well they take care of themselves with their skincare routine at home, with their lifestyle. So diet, exercise, sleep, stress, all of that. It all plays a factor. This particular client will come to me once a year, and we will do this treatment once a year to maintain her results. And then she does her great skincare, she eats healthy, and she does the best that she can. So she's very happy. With this other photo on the right, you see the little PLAXEL USA, that's our old brand. But you can see that she had a nice jowl lift. She had nice tightening on her cheek. This is kind of the type of language you can use, a facelift-like effect, without saying, I'm giving you a facelift, or, a partial facelift, or, we can't say things like that unless, of course, you're a doctor. Some more examples of what plasma skin regeneration can do. There's a nice jowl lift there. This is a student. This is all student work. The jowl lift, she is in the UK. In the middle she did a full face and neck plasma skin regeneration treatment. I'm going to get to what this looks like in the treatment room in a second, so you can see ablative versus non-ablative approaches to this. But that was incredible. It's a student of mine, believe she's in New York. This neck over here, you can see that crepiness was really reduced. This was just 20 days later. So that patient is going to continue healing for at least 3 months and producing that collagen. Collagen production takes time. So I don't like to promote these immediate results with the plasma skin regeneration, a true plasma technique, because what you see a lot of immediately after is just inflammation, because it is somewhat ablative. And so I don't like to promote immediate results with this particular technique because it's not truthful, and I'm all about being truthful. A few more results. You can use this on face and body. So the photos on the outside, the two outsides, is a student that's in Colorado. My center photo, you can definitely see the excess skin was reduced, and this was only one treatment, and this person would qualify for a few more treatments and have even better results. But you can do a little bit of tummy lifting, a little bit of belly button reconstruction with this, and then you can also do a little bit of breast lifting. And then again, we're reducing the appearance of things. We aren't actually doing skin tightening. We're not medical, unless you're a doctor. So plasma surgery is another way that plasma energy can be used in aesthetics. Again, if you are a medical professional, you can use it for surgical things, for like skin resurfacing. So you can do a very similar technique to laser, but it is not laser. It's different. For the skin resurfacing, you can do some types of scar revision. You can remove benign skin lesions, and plasma energy is very, very precise at targeting tissue, which is what doctors love about it. It's very, very minimal damage, if any, to surrounding tissue, which makes it very safe for estheticians to use. Plasma energy is also very low on that threshold of scarring and hyperpigmentation if you do it correctly and follow instructions. There is something called true plasma versus what other devices offer. I'll get into that a little bit later, but there is a very distinct difference, and I'll show you how to spot it. And it's very easy to spot, because you want to definitely be using a true plasma device, not a knockoff. Plasma energy can also be used in wound healing. It can be medical or aesthetic. There's different applications for this, but it can be used to accelerate wound healing. So after you do something more ablative, you can use plasma energy. There's a certain modality for it that can help to speed up the healing process of that ablative procedure that you just did. Cold plasma, very great at disinfecting. So that is awesome for diminishing some of the bacteria that comes with acne and those acne lesions. The cold plasma, again, produces reactive oxygen and nitrogen species, which have those antimicrobial properties that can help kill the bacteria and also help promote the healing, especially when combined with proper skincare and lifestyle choices, like I touched on already. Plasma energy can be applied in dental applications. So there are some dentists and dental industries that are experimenting with sterilization of dental instruments because plasma can get very, very hot. It can also be used to disinfect root canals because it's also super precise. Again, it can kill bacteria and viruses without the need for chemical disinfectants. So those of us trying to get away from chemicals and be more holistic, like me, that's very, very cool. Again, plasma energy can help with skin imperfections. You can diminish skin imperfections or remove them depending on your qualifications. Fibroma, skin tags, DPN. DPN are those dark bumps that will form on higher Fitzpatrick skin types. They can be easily removed. Milia is a simple one to zap and extract. Sunspots, depending on the depth, can be removed. The seborrheic keratosis, sebaceous hyperplasia, cherryangiomas, and I always say this wrong, telangiectasia. Telangiectasia, there we go. Those are the little tiny spider veins on the face. Now, we cannot remove tattoos with it. There are some advancements that look like it might be able to do that at some point, but sometimes you can get rid of a little bit of very superficial pigment for permanent makeup, but it's not meant for tattoo ink. It's not really meant for permanent makeup either, unless it's very, very, very superficial. We cannot do the deep purple spider veins. It is not for that. That is medical. And then obviously, if you see a lesion that looks cancerous, we're not going to be treating that unless you're a doctor. Some imperfection examples. The one that is milia removal was a patient of mine. You can see little tiny milia dots on her nose and one on her cheek right next to her nose. You can see where it was removed, and she healed nicely with no scarring. And then this other patient is from a student of mine that sees mostly darker skin tones, higher Fitzpatrick, and she's been doing amazing work with removing the keratosis and DPN with no scarring. If you're not experienced with that skin type, I don't recommend jumping into plasma on that skin type because they are at higher risk for hyperpigmentation. But I do have a training that goes into all of this stuff in way more detail so that you know what you can't do, and make sure you get the experience you need to be confident. But again, those are some of the skin imperfections that we can use or treat with plasma energy. Plasma energy is being heavily explored right now for hair regrowth. We are seeing some results with patients and clients right now that are going through some treatments. We're testing this. So cold plasma and another modality that I'm going to talk about in a second that we introduced recently is being tested for hair regrowth, and manufacturer has seen positive results already, and there are some interesting studies on it as well that are showing that it does work. So this is very, very up and coming. So I encourage you to be on the cutting edge of it because it's so exciting. Be one of the first to offer it. Anyway, there is a study so far that shows that it may promote follicle regeneration and improve hair density. And this is for alopecia and for natural causes of hair loss as well. So it's super exciting. So how does plasma energy actually work in the skin? There are essentially 3 different modalities that you can use with plasma energy. There is true plasma, which is when you see that purple spark coming out of a needle tip. Some people call it plasma fibroblasting. I will talk more about what to look for in a second. But with true plasma, what's happening is the plasma energy hits a very fine pinpoint spot. It causes sublimation of some of the cell matter that still has cytoplasm or moisture in it. And it's plowing through the very superficial epidermal layers of skin and pushing those out of the way, and then sublimating the skin cells that still have moisture in them. So you see this white dot that's formed, and that's very important to see when you're dealing with true plasmas. You'll see that white dot with a tiny pinprick of black in the center. And what happens with sublimation is you're going from solid to gas, bypassing the liquid phase. That's what sublimation is, solid to gas. And then a little bit of carbon is left behind. We have carbon in our cells. Carbon doesn't sublimate, so it's left behind. And then the skin expels that carbon in the days that follow as the skin is healing. So you get the white dots. The black dots come later because the carbon is being expelled. You can do resurfacing with true plasma. That's very similar to laser. I have a doctor that has our pen that compares it to the CO2 laser, which is very interesting. It's not the same, but it's pretty similar. And then true plasma is stimulating those fibroblasts. So we are not going into the dermis, but there is a heat transfer that takes place. And the dermis senses when there is a controlled injury happening in the epidermis. So those fibroblast cells are activated to start producing collagen and elastin to heal those upper layers of skin. So we call that forced collagen production with true plasma because it is more aggressive than cold plasma or plasma channeling, which is what we just introduced in the past few weeks. So cold plasma, what that does is it sterilizes the skin. It's great for acneic skin. And it also helps to infuse active ingredients deeply into the skin. So it's a wonderful addition to facials to really drive ingredients deeper into the skin. And then it does have a collagen stimulation aspect to it, not as aggressive as the true plasma, but with several treatments, you do start to see the effects of that collagen stimulation. So we always recommend a series of those. And then with plasma channeling, this is the latest, coolest thing to hit the plasma energy market. Plasma channeling is very similar to microneedling or microchanneling, if you've heard of those. It's almost like using a 0.25 millimeter needle, but with no needles at all. It has the same similar effects of the microneedling without the needles, just super cool. And I'll show you guys what it looks like in a minute. But plasma channeling, like all plasma modalities, do have a sterilization factor, which means not only are you disinfecting the surface that you're working on, but you're also disinfecting the instrument that you're using while you're using it. So your device is very clean. I love clean, coming from permanent makeup and hospitals. So plasma channeling is helping you to infuse products more deeply into the skin because you are creating little microchannels similar to microneedling without needles. You're getting collagen stimulation. We are activating the cells. This is still a lot of research in progress, but the theory is that we are activating the cellular energy because you see immediate tightening with plasma channeling that you don't see with the others. And it's just so cool. I'll show you one in a minute that a student did. You do see some immediate tightening without all of the inflammation. And we're also using plasma channeling for hair regrowth, which is very exciting. And all of these modalities can be used on face and body. Now, some of you guys might have heard about plasma jets. And I'm not talking about a brand here. I'm just talking about what a plasma jet actually is. And that's not the same as cold plasma. So if you have questions about that, we can get into that later. But plasma jets and cold plasma are not the same thing. There's a company that's trying to say it is. That's not, and I can prove it, but we can talk about it later. Here's a great example of plasma channeling after doing a series of treatments. This woman was a patient of a student of mine, and you can just see that it has like restructured her face. It's amazing. It's softened her, it's plumped her, and it has done wonders for her skin. I wish I would have had my device and these modalities before I invested in so much expensive equipment at my med spa. It would have saved me a lot of money. But anyway, now I know and I can pass it on to you. So with plasma devices, how do you know which one to choose? There's so many devices out there that claim to do plasma and plasma fibroblasting. So you definitely need to know which one to choose. And it's very easy to know the difference. The first thing I tell everyone is go look up the device you're researching on YouTube and look at videos of it working on actual skin. You'll see mostly the same thing. You'll see burn marks on a lot of these devices. Are just burning holes in the skin, or they're just burning the surface of the skin and leaving scabs. And that's not true plasma. But I want to show you, this will play for me so you can see the difference. This is not true plasma. See how there's a yellow spark, and this is the PLAXEL true plasma pen. You see the purple and how the needle does not have to touch the skin. That's very important. And you see those white dots with that tiny pinprick of black in the center. So again, you see the dark burn marks, yellow spark, needle is pretty much having to touch the skin, versus this device, which is true plasma, purple spark. The needle does not have to touch the skin. The energy jumps from the needle to the skin. Another thing that you'll recognize if you have the PLAXEL device is you'll smell ozone. You smell it more with the cold plasma than you do with that needle tip. But with other devices, all you smell is burning skin, and it will stink up your whole treatment room. Ask me how I know this. I started off with not a good device, like I said in the beginning, and it set me on a hunt for a true plasma pen, which I'm so glad that I was one of the first to find PLAXEL. To slow down that video, in the top left here, you can see that purple spark. And then I did this on water as well. You can really see it on the water. You see that purple spark. That is a sign of true plasma. And then, of course, the white dots on the skin with that tiny pinprick of black. But it's so important that you see that white. That plasma energy plows through those dead skin cells, pushes them out in all directions, and then sublimates the cells underneath that still have some moisture. So that's what you're seeing there is some exfoliation and then carbon. So I, of course, recommend the PLAXEL Plus pen. It's the only device that I know of out there that has the true plasma. I have seen a video of another one out there. I don't know what it's called. I don't know where to find it. I've been looking, but so far, the only thing I can find right now is PLAXEL Plus, that has that true plasma technology that meets all of those criteria. It behaves correctly in the skin. It's not burning, has purple spark, smells like ozone, doesn't smell like burning skin. You'll smell a little bit of charring if you singe a hair, which we have those little hairs on our skin. So that does happen sometimes. What is so great about the PLAXEL is all of these categories are met. These are so important when deciding a device to choose. Safety, that trust and support with the company and the device, and the versatility of being able to do all of your plasma modalities with one device is a huge plus. Will save you money. This device is very safe. So the needle is not touching the skin. So you don't have to worry about puncturing and drawing blood with your client. You're not going to make them bleed. A lot of these other devices that are not true plasma do cause bleeding because, again, they're just causing a burn and a scab. True plasma is very precise, so you're not damaging surrounding tissue. That does make it safer for estheticians if you're non-medical. So you don't have to worry about damaging other things. It's not going to go too deep, and it's not going to spread and damage other things. Now, there are some obvious contraindications. You are using an energy, so people like with pacemakers and metal implants and things like that are not clients, are not candidates. But there's a long list of contraindications that I go into in my very detailed training that we unfortunately don't have time for today. But with true plasma devices, without going into all of the engineering on the inside of the pen, because that's proprietary and even I am not allowed to know all of it, what I do know is that the inner workings of the device are so fine-tuned that it creates the ionization that creates that plasma energy to come out of the pen. It has to be so precise because too much of one thing will give you just an electrical charge that will just pass through and burn the skin, and then too little of it won't be effective. So our manufacturer has that dialed in and tested, and it's so fine-tuned that that's how you're able to get that plasma discharge. And then that's also why it's so rare that you're going to damage your client. You have to be intentional about damaging your client if you're going to damage them by either hovering in one spot way too long. That's usually how you'll damage your client. So you have to be really intentional about it. So I love that this device is so safe. We are actually working on the FDA registration right now. And the device is also very clean. It sterilizes itself as you use it. So not the entire device, but the tips that you're using, they get so hot that they're sterilizing themselves as you use them. Cold plasma is different because it's not that hot, but when you're doing the plasma fibroblasting with that needle in the end, you sterilize that needle as you use it. So if you did happen to poke your client, it's fine. You're not going to hurt them, other than making them pinpoint bleed just a little bit. But again, the plasma jumps from the needle to the skin, so it's very rare that you're actually going to poke them. The trust that you can rely on with World Plasma, with PLAXEL, is, we have hundreds of happy students worldwide. We're happy to provide references for you, even more happy clients from our hundreds of students. We have tons of before and afters. You can see tons more on the PLAXELplasma.com website if you want to see more of those before and after photos. You get a 1-year warranty with your device. And then if anything were to ever happen and you needed to send your device off for repair, we'll send you a loaner that we don't charge you for as long as you're in your warranty, so that you don't have to skip a beat and cancel clients and all of that. You do get lifetime access to our training and any updates we put. So we're about to relaunch our training and completely redo it and add tons more information with all the new developments that have happened the past couple of years. So if you're already in the training, you'll get all of that for free. If you come in, it's included with your device. And then any more updates we do in the future, you get for free. You get lifetime access to support. If you have questions, you can always get a hold of me. And Mike is my partner there, and he's always available as well. He's super knowledgeable about everything plasma. If he can't answer something, I can answer it. And we now have great brand recognition. So a lot of people have heard of PLAXEL. They know they can trust it. They know it's a safe device. They know it's going to give them results. And then we also give you marketing support. So there are all kinds of marketing materials you can tap into. Some are free, some are not. But we're always trying to make marketing even better, because if you succeed, it makes us look better, right? So perhaps one of the most important things is the versatility that you get with PLAXEL. It is thermal true plasma, so it's not just a skin burning device. You get the cold plasma with it, you get skin tightening with it, you get to be able to do the imperfection removals, you can sterilize with it, you can do the new plasma channeling with it, which we are the only ones that have that right now, which is very cool. It's so versatile, and you can do all things plasma energy with it. So that's exciting. These are some references on where I pulled a lot of my information from today, where I pull a lot of my information from in general for training. I have tons more references, but this is what I pulled from mostly for today. These are a bunch of different studies that have been done on plasma energy and how they relate to all of the different things that we talked about today. Now, this is something I could talk about forever and ever because I love it. It's my baby, but wanted to open this up for questions and also let you guys know that I have a free masterclass on the PLAXELplasma.com website. If you want more education about plasma and how it works and the device and all of that, I am all open to answering all your questions.
All right.
I hope I didn't go over on time.
Nope, you good. A couple of questions that have come in. Lori asked if it kills viruses, can you use it on cold sores to prevent them?
If you're medical, you could probably use it for that. I don't know that cold plasma would be penetrating deep enough for that, because cold plasma is a very superficial sterilization, and I don't know that I would use thermal plasma on it because that'd be really painful. In theory, you could. And I also get questions about wart removal. In theory, you can do it. I don't recommend wart removal just because you can actually aerosolize the viral material and inhale it. There's a whole presentation that I had posted in our student Facebook group about that, which was crazy. But anything that is viral like that, it is possible for the viral matter to be aerosolized. So I generally don't recommend treating spiral material unless you are a medical professional, but it can be done.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, tons of questions coming in. Is the plasma device safe for darker skin types?
Okay, yes, I'm glad you asked me that. So if you're doing the true plasma with the needle tip, it's not recommended for darker skin types unless you really know what you're doing, and always spot test everyone. I always say spot test every single person, no matter their skin color. However, plasma channeling and cold plasma can be done on all skin types, all skin colors, all skin types. So that's very exciting. Yes.
Okay, perfect. What is it about the trainer? Like, what's the best way to reach out and connect on being a trainer? I'm guessing it's at your website. Would that be
Yeah,
true?
if you're interested in the company, being a trainer, go to plaxelplasma.com and click on the chat widget that is on that website, and that will link you with Mike, and he can tell you all about that. If he can't answer it, I jump in the chat and I'll say, "Hey, this is Rachel," and I'll talk to you. But that's the best way to get a hold of us, is to go to plaxelplasma.com and click on the chat widget and start talking to us there.
How much would you charge for I'm sure it depends on the treatment, but what's the sort of general range that you would charge for an actual treatment?
Yeah, so
And the ROI on that.
a true plasma treatment where you're creating the dots on the skin, it's can be very time consuming if you're doing large areas. So my general rule of thumb is no less than $300. And then I do $300 for like a credit card sized area. So I'll just map out how many credit card sized areas times 300. And once we start doing like full faces, I start discounting because it becomes a lot. If I'm doing just a cold plasma facial or plasma channeling, I'm charging $275 for a facial or $300 for face and neck. And then I'll do package deals like buy 5, get 1 free. So generally that's what I do.
And what's the ROI on that, as far as
Mm.
paying, like general profit on that?
Yes. If you want a really good ROI breakdown, we've got one on our website. If you can't find it, chat widget, Mike will send it to you at plaxelplasma.com. But with that being said, like if you had, 5 clients one week doing a face, you're going to more than pay for your device with just those 5 clients. If you did,
Okay.
yeah, with the true plasma needle tip, and then it's just pure profit from there. The tips are very cheap. The needle tips are very cheap. So you need to get more of those. It's super cheap. Your other product cost would be your aftercare, which I'd love to plug in Sunshine Botanicals. They're my aftercare, and they're doing a presentation. I think it's next week. And you will not want to miss that. They're incredible. Anyway, so let's say you're just doing plasma channeling because you've got lots of different skin types and clientele. Some are dark, some are light. That's what you're going to focus on, is plasma channeling. And if you set your prices to $300 a treatment, and you just did 4 a week, that's $1,200 a week. 3 weeks, you paid your device off, and it's just pure profit. And that's very, very low end. You can do a full face with plasma channeling in less than 30 minutes. So that really increases your ROI if you can do treatments in a short amount of time with a larger profit margin. So does that
Okay.
answer your question? We have a breakdown too. If you want to contact us, we could send that to you.
Okay. Just a few more questions here. We have about 10 minutes. What is like the recovery time for a client?
So recovery time with that needle tip true plasma, it does depend, but we see is usually 5 to 7 days for the dots to fall off on their own. So that's a little bit faster from what I've seen personally with the skin burning devices. It's a little bit faster healing, especially if you're using the proper aftercare, which Sunshine Botanicals will tell you all about. But with plasma channeling, you have a little bit of redness immediately after, and that goes away in a couple of hours. With cold plasma, there's no downtime at all.
Okay, perfect. So a couple other questions. One is, do you numb the client before you do the service? Or is it painful, I guess would be the question.
Yeah, so with the needle tip, we do promote the use of numbing. And we We have certain numbings that we like that we can't legally promote that work the best. So we can talk about those if you need good numbing, but this numbing is generally not legal in most places, but we like strong numbing with it because yes, it can be painful with the needle tip. If you are using the ball tip, which is for fine lines and wrinkles and erasing those, just fine lines, sorry. The ball tip, you don't need numbing for. The plasma channeling, you don't need numbing for. And cold plasma, you do not need numbing. So it's only if you're doing the more aggressive treatments with that needle tip and doing that skin tightening, that can be a little bit more painful. And we do recommend numbing with it. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So just a few more questions here. So Lori asked, how do you advertise the service?
So you can advertise it as, like, I've done plasma channeling. I've advertised it as plasma energy facial, plasma skin rejuvenation, plasma skin therapy. There are a lot of different things that you can call it without sounding medical. If you are medical, plasma lift, plasma skin tightening, and plasma soft surgery. Some people have called it that if they're medical. Those are just a few things. We have a whole list that you can choose from what you want to call it.
All right, perfect. So let's just take this last question. Lisa just wants you to repeat what you would typically charge for face and neck.
For the needle tip plasma, I never do face and neck together because it's a lot of work. And that can be very time consuming and it can be very painful if you do that much in one session. If we're doing full face and neck, we'll break it up into sections. You can charge anywhere from, $1,500 to $2,500. Some have charged $3,000 for something like that. If you're doing that needle tip on full face and neck, again, I recommend breaking it up into sections on different days. But for plasma channeling, for cold plasma, I charge $275 for a facial with those. You can do plasma channeling in under 30 minutes. Cold plasma, I like to add to a nice relaxing facial and spend more time on that. But again, I'll charge $275 for those for a face and $300 for face and neck, or buy 5, get 1 free.
Perfect. All right. So I think there's going to be a lot of questions on this. And I think from here, the best place to reach out to you, I'm assuming, is plaxelplasma.com.
Yeah. And then also you can get a hold of me through the website. You can email me at rachel@worldplasma.com. I'm also on WhatsApp. That's a great place to get a hold of me. There is my number there if you want to get a hold of me there.
All right. So we're coming to the end of this. I mean, I think we could go on for like 3 days on this. It's so fascinating.
And
Really.
I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. Yeah. So we're going to end here today for this session. I know it's a long day, tons of information. I so appreciate you guys jumping on. Thanks so much, Rachel. It was really enlightening. And I look forward to sort of collaborating and talking to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone, for joining in.
Thank you.